Welcome to another episode of Course Heading. In this week's episode of Course Heading, we're going to be talking about another Lower Decks episode. How you doing tonight, Bill?
Eyes open. A lot of big stuff this week. Got new characters introduced. More laying groundwork for I think what the season's going to be about, and looking forward to hearing what you had to say or what you have to say about it. We haven't really talked about it ahead of time, which is what we do on the show. We tend to stay pretty, we like to have our reactions be fresh to each other when we record these.
Yeah, Bill and I haven't talked about the episode, but Bill is right. There is a lot to kind of cover. Not a lot, but there was a lot happened in this episode, so I think we should just jump right into it. What were your thoughts? Overall thoughts?
If you watched last week's episode of Course Heading where we talked about strange energies, you'll remember that I was not a huge fan of the premiere of season 2. I really liked this. Kind of reminded me of season 1. Didn't love the pilot, but really liked episode 2, Envoys, and I really felt pretty similarly here. I liked both the A and B plots. I thought they both had a lot of solid, effective humor. I was laughing at both of them, and I think both of them have nice messages too that feel at home in Star Trek. And there's some meta stuff too about the greater Star Trek universe that I really enjoyed, and I find myself thinking about a couple hours after watching it. So I'm a fan. What about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. It's chock full of fan servicey stuff. I think there's a whole heck of a lot taken from the greater Star Trek universe themes, the plot points and things like that. But yeah, I think it does a really good balance of having some really like kind of on the nose just life lessons and things in it, along with obviously the comedic element, which is always fun. But yeah, I think that's that kind of those kind of points of I don't know, just I don't want to say campiness because it's not really campiness, but it's like I don't know, it's just it has substance to it, and you can see the characters changing and working through things, and having that camaraderie throughout the episode. But yeah, I definitely chock full of a lot of fan servicey stuff, which I enjoyed. I don't think it really got in the way of the story per se. I think it would play just as well if you didn't watch Darmok or the episode where the transporter accident happens, and you don't have to watch those to enjoy this kind of storyline. So yeah, a bunch of different great meta references as well, and some funny moments. So yeah, I think it's an all around just better episode because the substance elements, and then also just great comedic stuff and the fan servicey stuff, which I enjoyed. So yeah.
I agree. I noted that I think the writer-director pairing here, Chris Kula and Kim Arndt, also did Envoys last season. And that is, I think, similarly loaded with references. And that's the episode where they go to the planet of like embassies, and it's like the Epcot of the Federation, where there's these like pavilions for different cultures, and they're making their way through trying to chase this Klingon down. And through their travels, they're coming across all these references, callbacks to the other shows. And this is similar, I think, with using the setting and the location that they're on their mission to provide a lot of that reference heavy stuff. And I just found that interesting that it was the same writer-director pairing in both episodes 2 of seasons 1 and 2. Yeah.
I got a few new characters, not a few, a bunch. So we get kind of the first first episode that like with the Titan crew, and then also 2 new characters on the Cerritos. So what did you think of the whole, just all the new characters? What do you think?
I think the idea with Kayshon having him be Temerian from Darmok, I think that's an ingenious, just a perfect,
it's really funny
idea for Lower Decks. I think it's perfectly suited for this show. I'm really excited to see his involvement moving forward. I think he's going to bring a lot to the table. I like that he doesn't just speak in sort of meme-ish Temerian metaphor. He kind of bounces back and forth. He's got a universal translator. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. He's trying to speak Federation standard, and I like that. I think that'll provide a lot of opportunities moving forward. I liked the other character on the Cerritos. I believe his name was Jet Manhaver. I have Memory Alpha handy dandy next to me, just to make sure I catch his character names and such. I thought he brought a lot to the table this week too. I thought he was a nice sort of change of pace, sort of Boimler stand-in, but very different, and kind of forcing Mariner to kind of reckon with how much he misses Boimler and how much Boimler's presence in their dynamic brought to the table, and how much he is like a necessary cog in their wheel. And I think through that it would have been easy for that character to just be an irritant, or a
love interest,
a plot device, or a love interest. And I think they kind of accomplished all of those things simultaneously and giving him some character. And I'm hoping that he sticks around and is an ongoing, maybe pop in recurring character.
Yeah, because it felt like he was just a tool used to make Mariner realize how much not just she missed Boimler, obviously, and how much he's involved in their lives, like you said, but just like her job, like he's not it would have been kind of easy just to come in and have him just be like straight-laced and try to fix her, but it's kind of the opposite, where they're both kind of similar, and then that kind of like there's a great scene when they're trying to get off the collector ship that they both realize, like, oh, we have some issues to work with, let's do the Star Trek thing, and then and use the council type of way to work together and not just go rogue. Would they both go rogue? And it's just good. So I really like that element of his character. He's not very one-dimensional. I mean, he's kind of one-dimensional in that he's helping the other characters work through some things and realize some things. So I really enjoyed that part of the episode as well.
Me too. The scene you just referenced, I think, might be my favorite little bit in the episode. I think, like you kind of mentioned, and you're right, in true kind of Star Trek fashion, and some of these messages and sort of lessons of the week can be a little on the nose. But I appreciate that, especially in this show. You have
that's staple of Star Trek. Sorry,
it is.
People don't like that. Sorry.
It is, and I think it works here, especially. I think that the message about listen to your people. Like, everybody here has something to bring to the table, and they're good at their jobs, and they know things, and they have areas of expertise, and and I feel like that's something that especially TNG, I think, does a really good job, and the show is so in love with TNG. It makes sense that they're obviously striving to hit the same notes. Such like real world workplace kinds of lessons and things to take with you. And as I've gotten older and gotten into a professional life, and being a supervisor and having people that look up to me for guidance and help and leadership, and then having people above me too, like I feel like these kinds of lessons really resonate and are and this one really landed. I think that it's on the nose, and it's simple, and it's obvious, but I think it really has merit. It's true in true Trek fashion. I think it's really well pitched, and it landed on me. It was good.
Yeah, and also the same thing with that. I love the parallels between the two crews and how they handle things. I think it's the Titan crew just likes to fight their way out of situations, where it's nice to see like this Cerritos crew, and even Boimler, like he does this whole soapbox thing at the end. But I also like that they like Mariner's plan is just go like almost fight your way to fix the problem and fix their situation. But it's cool to see like it's more I don't know, it's smart, do smarter smarter and safer way to get the job done, and not every Star Trek episode has to end with them fighting their way out of a situation where they can use their technology and their knowledge and all these things to kind of get to an escape pod instead of which I like that. I like that. I mean, I do like action sequences as much as the next guy or gal, but it's also cool to see, like, I don't know, go that different route than like the Titan, where it's like, oh, action figures and things like that. I do like that about the Cerritos.
I do too, and kind of the crew on the Titan, I think you're right on. I mean, they're action heroes. They're gung ho. You know, they're on a different kind of ship, and you know, dealing with different kinds of missions. And Boimler's got that really good speech at the end of the episode, which I again think is really meta and talking about, you know, the different kinds of Star Trek that we're getting, and yeah, I think this is a really self-aware way of kind of exploring that Star Trek can be many things, and Star Trek shows can be many things. Episodes can be many kinds of flavors and tones, and this is kind of a celebration of that. You have these two stories in one episode where they're, you know, both dealing with crises, but kind of tackling them in different ways, and have different members of crews that, you know, have different ways of wanting to deal with these things. And Boimler at the end of the day kind of coming back to the Cerritos at the end, you know, realizing that that's kind of his place. He's kind of saying that, you know, the TNG kind of atmosphere of more laid back and adventure of the week, and maybe going to a concert every once in a while where the crew's doing their thing, and like that's his comfort. Like, he's more comfortable there than in the serialized action adventure life on the Titan, which I think is an obvious kind of not pot shot, but like an obvious like allusion to what Discovery and Picard and stuff like that is aiming to do.
Which I think there's some relatability in that. Like, I feel like young people are so, like, they have to find that thing that they want to do for the rest of their lives, and once they get there, it's not what they expected, and I think that's the best way to, almost, at least for me in my experience, is to just try it and actually see what, you know. So I don't know, I really appreciated that too, because I feel like he held that just getting promoted and rising through the ranks type of Starfleet experience on a pedestal, that once he got there, it wasn't as cracked up as, you know. So it's, I don't know, there's some fun, interesting things in that as well.
Yeah, it's all about the grass isn't always greener, and it's about the people. It's about the people you fit with, and that kind of complete your little work family or your crew. And I think that's often the case, whether you're a Star Trek character or you're just a guy or a gal out in the professional world in 21st century Earth trying to make their way. I think those are the kinds of lessons that we all kind of have to work through and learn.
Which, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. That's what TNG was. It was like a workplace kind of. Riker gave up how many promotions to just stay there, you know. So exactly. It's all about your comfort zone and your fit and what feels right. And for him, for those 7 years on the Next Generation, he had opportunities to go do something else, but he knew his place was on the Enterprise as the first officer in that role with those people. And, you know, Boimler really kind of learns the same thing through a different, you know, process, and he's younger and more eager and, you know, very career driven, and has these, you know, visions for himself and where he wants to be. But he ultimately learns the same thing that Riker kind of knows by the time he's first officer of the Enterprise. That those are the things that really matter. And, you know, what bring you happiness in life. And I think that's really good. I think that's a really nice thing to explore, and it's consistent with what Star Trek has always kind of been about, and what the Next Generation certainly explored, but through a different lens. Especially in that era, like, it feels, because it's so workplace kind of related, and they
Yep.
explore that. It does feels like TNG, and it's the same era. Obviously, we get the recurring characters, but yeah, that's just one thing that I love about Lower Decks.
Me too.
As the series and seasons go on, it's like, okay, this is definitely, which is interesting too, because not some of the shows take some time to get to that point where they do feel like a work family, but yeah, it seems just from early on, it does feel like you get that in Lower Decks, and I think that probably was the goal to begin with, obviously, with Lower Decks. So they're just really successful at it so early on, which I freaking love. So
I think that's the exact specific itch that Mike McMahon had, and that he's scratching making Lower Decks. It is that exact, like, that workplace drama comedy. TNG's workplace drama, Lower Decks is workplace comedy about.
It's like The Office.
Yeah, exactly.
In Star Trek.
It's a different genre, and it has a different tone and voice, but it is ultimately about these career-like issues that pretty much anybody can relate to. And I love that. I think that's a nice return, because I don't know that TNG, I think for me, when I think of those kinds of things, TNG is the show that comes the most to mind.
Yeah.
For that specific little flavor. And it's a really nice, refreshing kind of return to be back in that space and have that be such the emphasis again. And I think I remember tweeting, like, early in season 1, after a little run of episodes like Envoys, and I think Temporal Edict had very specific, like, workplace kinds of issues. And I remember saying how happy I was that Star Trek was so specifically targeting those sort of workplace issues as their sort of lessons of the week and what they're aiming to talk about, because they're important. And I think, like I said, anybody can relate to them.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to shout out Caleb, who's a member of our Discord server. I remember a few weeks ago we had a Trek After Dark hangout, and it was right around the time I think a trailer for Lower Decks season 2 premiered, and he pointed out a screenshot of something from this episode, and it's the Collector's ship, and he was wondering if it was Kivas Fajo from The Most Toys. And while he wasn't right on the dot there, I love
basically the same thing.
Basically right on. It's the Collector's.
Called that 100%.
Yes, he was right on, and credit to him for kind of spotting that and kind of having the instincts to kind of know where Mike McMahon was going to go with that. And I thought that was cool to establish that it's this little guild of collectors out there. Kivas Fajo is not necessarily a one-off dude out there, flying around in the ship. There's a little group of them that connect, and I think even that episode alludes to that a little bit with that other guy who comes to visit on the ship.
It's so cool though. Sorry.
Good. No.
It's just so cool that again, this is modern era Trek, connecting the dots, even 25 years later to a 25-year-old. Just I don't know. It's cool that it's adding a new wrinkle to that episode. Like Discovery's done countless times to TOS and other episodes, but it's just really cool. without getting too cute. Like I talked about at the top of the show, like some of this stuff I don't think really gets in the way, and it still plays good even if you haven't seen The Most Toys. So
and honestly, I think that's when it works the best, when it's in your peripheral vision and it's not driving the story. And I feel like at times it can get a little self-aware and cute with the references, and having that be too much the driving force. And episodes like this where it's there, and like I feel like I need to watch it just to, when I'm not feeling like I got to pay attention to the story and follow it for the first time.
Just look in the background.
It's obvious. Just this is like a screen shot. Pause it and look at the details. Haven. There's just tons of little things that I'm sure I caught a fraction of on the first go around. And I love that. I think that's the way to do it. And I would love to see the show use that as their sort of mantra. That's to me the most effective way to do the self-referential stuff. I think we got to talk about, one of the big open questions from the end of season 1 is I think everybody pretty much had it pinned that clearly Boimler was going to wind up back on the Cerritos somehow.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That was clearly something that was going to happen. I don't think anybody pegged that the way it happened here in this episode.
There's 2 Boimlers now.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think of the way that all played out? And
I thought it was fine. I think my only thing was like I was hoping we would get more of the Titan, and that we would get a few more episodes out of it. Because I don't know. I love the Titan, but it does make sense. It's he had to come back. I think we all knew that going into the season. Like he had to come back somehow. Just I think the reason why I'm bummed is because I just wanted to see more of the Titan. Like I enjoy Boimler being on the Cerritos, so I have no problem with him coming back at all. I think it's going to be a really fun dynamic with the kind of groundwork that they laid. This new guy is going to be probably a little bit disgruntled that he's back, and he's Boimler's like the golden child, but the golden friend. But yeah, I think my only gripe is that I was like, man, you just got comfortable with the Titan, seeing all that, and but who knows?
I would definitely love to see more Titan. I think. But, I hope that it's not the end. I hope maybe that. I mean, what's to say that they won't still be around somehow? But
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's pretty. I don't know. It's weird because that they maybe it's just they're just one-off characters, but they just they brought in some great actors and voice actors and some interesting kind of wrinkles in that department. But yeah, maybe that was just kind of a one-off thing.
It could have been. I think one of the challenges, in like a 20-something episode season, I think it makes a lot of sense to stretch this out and have Boimler on the Titan and have many, little stretch of adventures and
that's true.
Really build that up. When you have 10, and the season goes by really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we're 5th of the way through it already. Just 2 in. So I get it. I agree with you though. I think they did a really nice job establishing the Titan as a ship and the crew and. I would love to see more, and just hearing Riker, like especially in the more like low key scenes in the briefing room, or the observation lounge, going over like the mission that the
just have him read stuff. Yeah,
it's just great. It's so like nice to hear him deliver that dialogue as Riker. So yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want more of that? It is, yeah. So I totally get that. I agree.
He's a busy guy, though. He's got other directorial duties and things to get.
He does.
So voice acting maybe takes a backseat, but maybe season 3 we'll get some more.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. I think we haven't seen the last of Riker and the Titan, if I had to guess. Especially with a clone of Boimler out there, I would think that seems like it's a less clean break from that than it would have been if he just got demoted and sent back. Like that'd be easier to just cut off, but. I don't know. Something tells me it won't be.
It doesn't completely close the door on the Titan, which I'll take. Right. I would want the whole show on the Titan, but
totally agree.
We have some good stuff on the Cerritos, so yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to have the dynamic back the way it was. Like you were saying, they built such a good foundation. The way that those 4 characters interact with each other. I'm looking forward to having the group back together again too, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to next week. I think that's always a mark of a good episode. I watched it this morning, and I still get excited about next week. So I think that's definitely a mark of a good episode. But yeah, speaking of next week, we will be back. I think, Bill, if you're okay, we can definitely cut it here.
Yeah.
Try to keep it that 25-minute mark, which we're just hit. So pretty good timing. We'll be back next week to talk about the next episode of Lower Decks. Hopefully this I want to post these sooner. This week we ran into some technical difficulties, so hopefully in the coming weeks we'll get better or I'll get better at posting them right away. The discussion does not stop here. Twitter, Discord, got a great topic for Trek Live main show this week, so definitely stay tuned for that and stop by live to join the discussion. But that's about it. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.